Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're all about Lactobacillus acidophilus.
It's a popular probiotic.
Definitely. And we've got some research here. It might actually surprise you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're looking at 3 different studies. One's about kidney stones.
Interesting.
Another is about GERD. And the third one, well, it's more like a big overview of Lactobacillus acidophilus. It looks at all kinds of things this probiotic might be able to do. But before we jump into all that, there's a super quick reminder for anyone who needs it.
Okay.
Probiotics, they're the good bacteria living in your gut.
Keeping things in balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're important for your overall health.
Absolutely. We're learning more and more about them all the time. Lactobacillus acidophilus is really interesting.
It really is. You know, we used to just think of probiotics for gut health, but this research
It's showing us there's way more to it.
So much more. Okay, let's start with the kidney stone study. This one really threw me for a loop.
Huh. How so?
Well, the title kind of gave it away, I guess. Effect of a probiotic supplement containing Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium animalis lactis on urine oxalate in calcium stone formers with hyperoxaluria. I mean, it seemed pretty straightforward.
Right. Using probiotics.
To reduce oxalate and prevent kidney stones. But
Wait,
then,
the results weren't what you expected.
not at all. They found that the probiotic didn't really change the oxalate levels in the urine.
Huh. Even though Lactobacillus acidophilus has the gene for that enzyme, the one that breaks down oxalate.
That's what I thought. It's like having the instructions, but not the actual thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It shows just how complicated this all is.
So what's the explanation?
Well, the study suggests a few things. First, just because a gene is there doesn't mean it's doing anything.
It needs to be turned on, basically.
Right. Active. The probiotic might have the potential to break down oxalate, but maybe it's not actually doing it in this case. And there's something else too. Probiotics, they need to actually live in your gut to work, to colonize it. In this study, the researchers found that for most people, the probiotic wasn't showing up in their stool samples.
Meaning it wasn't really sticking around.
Exactly. So even if the enzyme was working, there might not have been enough of the probiotic to make a real difference.
That's a good point. It reminds me that choosing the right probiotic is important.
It is. The specific strain of the probiotic matters. And everyone's gut environment is a little different. Those things can affect how well a probiotic works.
Makes you think twice about just grabbing any probiotic off the shelf, huh? Okay, so that's the kidney stone study. A bit of a mystery, really. But let's move on to the one about GERD. This study has a longer title. Efficacy of a food supplement containing Lactobacillus acidophilus LA14, peptides, and a multivitamin complex in improving gastroesophageal reflux disease-related outcomes and quality of life of subjects, showing mild to moderate gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Did you get all that?
I think so. It sounds like they were using Lactobacillus acidophilus along with some other things, peptides and a multivitamin complex. That's right. And the results were actually pretty positive. People who took this supplement said their heartburn got better, both how often it happened and how bad it was.
Interesting. And they didn't need as much medication.
Yeah. Less reliance on over-the-counter stuff. Seems like they were actually getting relief. But I'm curious about those other ingredients, the peptides and the multivitamins. Did they play a role?
That's a great question. It could be that they work together with the Lactobacillus acidophilus, to boost its effects. Maybe they helped it colonize the gut better, or maybe they helped reduce inflammation. More research is needed for sure.
It does make you wonder, what's the interplay there? This study was also double-blind and placebo-controlled, which always gives you more confidence in the findings.
Absolutely. It means neither the researchers nor the people in the study knew who was getting the probiotic and who was getting the placebo, so it helps to rule out bias.
So we're seeing some real possibilities for Lactobacillus acidophilus in managing GERD, and makes you think, could this lead to more personalized treatments? Finding the right probiotics and nutrients for each person.
That's a fascinating idea. Imagine being able to analyze someone's gut microbiome and then give them a specific probiotic or nutrient blend that would work best for them.
Like personalized medicine for the gut.
Okay.
All right, before we get carried away with the future, let's talk about that review article. The title's a bit simpler. The functional roles of Lactobacillus acidophilus in different physiological and pathological processes.
Sounds like a broad overview.
It is, and it really expanded my view of what Lactobacillus acidophilus can do. It even got into cholesterol management and immune function.
Wow, I'm intrigued. We usually associate probiotics with gut health, but cholesterol.
I know, it's fascinating. Apparently, Lactobacillus acidophilus can break down bile salts in the gut. And those bile salts are involved in how your body absorbs cholesterol. So by breaking them down, the probiotic could potentially help lower cholesterol levels.
Now that's something I didn't know. And what about its role in immunity?
Well, think of it this way. The gut microbiome is like a whole ecosystem, and Lactobacillus acidophilus is one of the important species in that ecosystem. It helps keep things balanced. And a balanced gut microbiome is essential for a strong immune system.
Right. It helps us fight off infections and stay healthy overall.
So it's not just about digestion. It's about supporting your well-being on a much bigger scale.
Exactly. And that actually ties into one of the key points of the review article, the idea that everything in the body is connected. You can't just look at gut health in isolation. It's linked to your mood, your energy levels, your immune system, even your risk for certain diseases. And it seems like Lactobacillus acidophilus is a major player in all of that.
Wow. It really is a lot to think about.
It is, and we're really just beginning to explore the full potential of Lactobacillus acidophilus and probiotics in general.
So much to uncover.
Yeah.
But, someone listening might be thinking, okay, this is all very cool, but what does it all mean for me? Like, how can I actually use this information?
That's a really good question, and it's one that researchers are still working on. These studies give us some amazing clues about Lactobacillus acidophilus, but we've got to remember research on probiotics. It's still a work in progress. We can't just make big conclusions from a few studies.
Right, like you can't just say this is the answer for everyone.
Exactly. But what we can say is this Lactobacillus acidophilus and probiotics overall, they've got huge potential for our health. They might not be like a magic cure-all, but they could be a really useful tool.
So it's more about understanding the specifics, right? Like in that kidney stone study. Just because the enzyme was there didn't mean it was actually doing anything to reduce oxalate.
Exactly. It really shows how important things like colonization are, and also the specific strain of the probiotic you're using.
Yeah, makes sense.
This is where more research is needed. We have to dig deeper into how probiotics work at like a fundamental level. What makes them effective? How do they interact with each person's gut microbiome?
It's like a big puzzle, and each study adds another piece.
I like that. That's what makes this field so exciting. There's still so much we don't know. But every time we discover something new, we get a better understanding of how the gut microbiome and our health are connected.
And that brings us back to that key point from the review article. How everything's connected in our bodies.
Right.
If Lactobacillus acidophilus can maybe change cholesterol levels and affect the immune response,
it makes you wonder, what else can it do?
That's what keeps researchers going. It's a big question. Could we use this knowledge to create personalized medicine, for all sorts of health problems?
So people could have their own probiotic blends made just for them.
It's possible. Imagine going to the doctor, getting your gut microbiome analyzed, and then getting a custom probiotic plan to help with specific health issues, or even prevent them from happening in the first place.
That sounds like science fiction.
Maybe it's closer than we think. I hope so. That's what's so amazing about science. It's always pushing boundaries and showing us what's possible, all these new discoveries. Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive into Lactobacillus acidophilus so far. We've talked about its potential for kidney stones, GERD, cholesterol, and immunity, and we've even started thinking about how probiotic research could change healthcare in the future.
It's really exciting stuff.
It is. But I think it's good to take a moment and recap some key takeaways for our listeners, just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, let's make this information useful for everyone.
So what are some of the most important things you want people to remember from our conversation today?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is probiotics, even ones like Lactobacillus acidophilus, that show a lot of promise. They're not a quick fix. They're not magic. They're one part of a bigger picture, a holistic approach to health. Things like a balanced diet, exercise, and managing stress are all important too.
Right. It's about taking care of your whole self, not just looking for a magic pill.
Exactly. And another thing is, while the research on probiotics is really promising, you've got to be critical. There's still a lot we don't know, and how people respond to probiotics can be different. What works for one person might not work for another.
It's about making smart choices, not just following the latest health trends.
Right. Do your research. Figure out what works best for you. It's about being in control of your own health.
That's a great point. And that leads us to our final thought for today. It goes back to that idea of personalized medicine we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
If we can really understand the gut microbiome and how it affects everything else in the body, imagine what we could do.
Yeah.
We could prevent and treat diseases in a whole new way.
That's an inspiring vision for the future, and research like the studies we've discussed today is helping us get there.
This has been an amazing journey. We encourage everyone to keep exploring the world of probiotics.
There's a ton of information out there in scientific journals, on reliable health websites.
Keep learning, stay curious, and keep asking questions.
The more we learn about this incredible world inside us, the better we can take care of our health.
Absolutely. So on that note, we're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to finish up our deep dive into Lactobacillus acidophilus and leave you with some final things to think about. Okay, we're back. Ready to wrap things up with Lactobacillus acidophilus. This research, wow, it's really made me see probiotics in a whole new light. It's amazing what these little organisms can do.
I know, right? The gut microbiome is so complex. And it affects so much. And Lactobacillus acidophilus, it seems to be a key part of it all.
Definitely. So let's quickly go over what we've learned today. We started with that kidney stone study, and, well, it was a little surprising. You'd think a probiotic with the enzyme to break down oxalate would help prevent kidney stones, but the study didn't really show that.
Yeah, and we talked about how important it is for the probiotic to actually be able to colonize the gut. And the specific strain of the probiotic matters too. Just because it has the gene doesn't mean it's actually doing anything.
It's all about the details. Then we looked at the GERD study, which had some really positive results. People taking that supplement with Lactobacillus acidophilus, peptides, and multivitamins, they saw a real decrease in their heartburn.
And what was interesting there was the combination of ingredients. You know, maybe they were working together to boost the effects. That's something to look into.
For sure. And then we talked about that review article, the one that really expanded our understanding of what Lactobacillus acidophilus can do. Cholesterol management, immune function. It's incredible. It really shows you how everything in the body is connected.
Absolutely. You can't separate gut health from the rest of your well-being. It's all linked.
So true. So to wrap up, I want to leave everyone with one last question to think about. Could we use our knowledge of Lactobacillus acidophilus and probiotics in general to create personalized medicine? Could we tailor treatments to each person's needs?
That's a big question, but it's an exciting one. Imagine analyzing someone's gut microbiome and then giving them specific probiotics or nutrients that would work best for them.
It would revolutionize healthcare. Using these tiny organisms to optimize our health in a way that's completely personalized.
That's the dream. And research like the studies we talked about today is moving us closer to that reality.
This has been an incredible deep dive, and we hope you've enjoyed it. We've only scratched the surface, though. There's still so much to learn about Lactobacillus acidophilus and the world of probiotics. So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, take control of your health. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep diving deep.